She called me her testron husband at her consulting firm launch. Then she handed me divorce papers in front of 200 guests and smiled, like she had one. What she did not know was that I owned the building, the software, the credit lines, everything her empire stood on. I gave her 60 minutes before I pulled the plug. My name is Garrett Hampton. I am 47, until 3 weeks ago. I thought I understood my wife. I thought our marriage, while far from perfect, was built on something solid. Turns out, I was the foundation she stood on while reaching for something she wanted more. I made my money in commercial real estate, not the flashy kind. No flips, no Instagram bragging. The quiet kind, strip malls, second-tier office buildings, warehouses near distribution hubs. I found undervalued properties, improved them, and let good tenants build equity for both of us. Steady, reliable, the kind of business that let me fund Amber's ambitions without blinking. Amber Beaumont Hampton was smart, sharp as a scalpel, and twice as cold when she wanted to be. She came into my life 11 years ago with a teenage daughter, Olivia, from her first marriage, a killer smile and a plan. I fell hard. She was brilliant, driven, and she made me feel like I was part of something bigger than rental agreements and property assessments we had. Dylan, when Amber was 27, he is 12 now. Good kid. Plays soccer, collects baseball cards, still hugs me goodnight, even though his friends probably think that is lame. Olivia is 15, quiet, observant. She watches her mother like she is studying a textbook she does not fully trust. For the last 3 years, I was Amber's silent partner. Not on paper, but in every way that mattered. I funded Beaumont Advisory Group with $14.5 million over 3 years. Seed capital, operating expenses, marketing, office build-out, introductions to executives, household expenses, so Amber could pour her salary into the business. I even helped her hire 3 junior partners who believed in her vision: Sophie Rivers, Derek Hunt, and Lauren Kane. The launch party was supposed to be our celebration. She told me that herself. She kissed my cheek while adjusting a jade green dress. I wore the charcoal suit she had picked out last month. I felt proud. Stupid, but proud. The venue was a converted loft in downtown Portland. Exposed brick, industrial lighting, catered food, 200 guests. Amber worked the room like she belonged there. I stood near the bar, nursing a bourbon, watching her shine. Dylan was home with a babysitter. Olivia opted to stay in and do homework. I did not push it. Then she went on stage. The room quieted. She thanked her team, her mentors, her clients. Then she looked directly at me. "And I want to thank someone very special," she said. "My husband, Garrett." People turned. I raised my glass, expecting the usual supportive spouse moment. Amber continued. "Garrett has been what I call my test-run husband," she said. The room froze. Someone laughed. Someone else looked uncomfortable. Amber pulled a cream envelope from behind the podium, walked toward me, and handed it across the room. Up close. Her eyes were bright and hard. "These are divorce papers," she said, loud enough for the nearest guests to hear. "Consider this our first case at Beaumont Advisory. Dissolving partnerships that no longer serve their purpose." This was a legal letterhead. "Petition for dissolution of marriage, filed 4 days earlier." Her signature was already at the bottom. "You could have done this privately," I said. My voice was steady. I surprised myself. Where is the impact in that? She replied, "This is about statements. Garrett, you taught me that every deal, every ending, should mean something." I folded the papers, slid them into my jacket, and looked at the room. Phones were out. This would be on social media in an hour. I looked at Amber and realized I was staring at a stranger who had been playing a part for 11 years. "Congratulations on your launch," I said softly. Then I walked out. I did not go home. I drove to a 24-hour diner on the edge of town, ordered coffee I did not drink, and opened my laptop. I accessed the files Amber never asked about, the ones she assumed were just boring property documents. I logged into systems she had never touched. She did not know was that I owned the infrastructure her firm ran on, the building Beaumont leased. had been purchased by a holding company I controlled 3 years earlier. I suggested the location. She loved it and signed a 5-year lease at below market rates. The client management software they used was licensed through a company I had equity in. The startup discount had come through an introduction I made. The credit line was another connection I arranged. Buried in standard agreements she initialed without reading. There were clauses I had spent years positioning. Termination rights. Ownership assertions. Financial guarantees tied to specific conditions. And last night, those conditions were violated. I called my banker, Thomas Reinhardt. 15 years of business between us. Execute the termination on account Series 7, I said. Effective immediately. No calls to Amber. There was a long pause. Finally, he said, "Give me 2 hours. Compliance needs to coordinate." 1 hour, I said. No calls. I kept my phone on airplane mode for exactly 4 hours. Not out of fear. Out of control. I wanted the systems to execute before Amber knew what hit her. At 11:30, I switched airplane mode off. The phone convulsed. Notifications cascaded. Missed calls. Dozens. Then hundreds. Texts. Voicemails. "Garrett, what did you do to the accounts?" Amber demanded. "Call me now," Sophie said. "Garrett, something's wrong with our banking access," Derek texted. Preston Beaumont. Amber's father texted that we needed to talk. I let the calls pile up. I made coffee. I watched the panic from my desk. Preston came to the door in a gray wool coat and a practiced smile. He offered a buyout. Full return, plus 20%. "Walk away," he said. "We'll stabilize Beaumont." "I did not make an investment," I said. "I built her operation. The lease, the credit lines, the vendor contracts, they all run through systems I control." Preston's smile flickered. "Name your price," he said. "I do not want money," I said. "I want her to understand what happens when you use people like stepping stones." He warned me about legal backlash. "Let her sue," I said. "Discovery would be interesting." Then I closed the door. By Monday, Beaumont Advisory was in free fall. Vendor contracts suspended. Clients asking questions. Business forums lit up. Someone posted that the founder's husband pulled all the funding after being handed divorce papers at the launch party. Then Vanessa, Amber's assistant, quietly sent me scans of documents she had hidden. Bank statements showing transfers I had never authorized. Loan applications with forged signatures. A draft operating agreement listing Amber as sole owner. She had planned this for months. I forwarded everything to my attorney and instructed him to add. Fraught to the filing, Amber called and cried, "We can fix this," she said. "There is nothing to fix," I told her. "The accounts are frozen because the agreements you signed have termination clauses. You violated them when you filed for divorce without notifying investment partners you wanted to build." "Something without me," she said. "No," I said. "You are collecting what is owed. You made it public. You wanted an audience. Consider this your opportunity." I blocked her number. Then I blocked Preston. The phone finally went quiet. Forensic accounting found $2.3 million taken out in my name across 4 banks. Forged signatures. Identity theft. My attorney recommended criminal charges. That is public, he warned. "She made our divorce public," I said. "She can handle the consequences being public too." By midweek, junior partners reached out to me, not Amber. Sophie, Derek, and Lauren were scared and pragmatic. I offered them a deal. Transparent financing. Real equity. No hidden agendas. I kept controlling interests. 60%. They split 30%. 10% was reserved for performance bonuses. They accepted. We called it Hampton Strategic Group. The firm was replacement, not revenge. Revenge is messy. This was clean. Professional news broke. Portland Business Journal ran the story. Former consulting founder faces fraud charges. Bank documents. Handwriting analysis. Forensic reports. When the charges hit, the launch party footage went viral. People connected the dots. The public narrative collapsed. Amber's crafted image shattered in hours. Preston tried to cut a deal. Plea to lesser charges. Full restitution, probation, expungement. You get your money back, he said. No, I told him. This is not about money anymore. It is about the law. Amber pleaded guilty to 2 counts of bank fraud and 1 count of identity theft. Sentencing followed. 5 years supervised probation. $200,000 in restitution. Community service. A permanent felony record. Her consulting career was over. Hampton Strategic launched quietly and professionally. Within a week, we had clients. Within months, we had 12 employees and a multi-million-dollar contract. Sophie, Derek, and Lauren were building something real. The business grew because of work, not theatrics. At home, the kids adjusted. Dylan, now 13, still hugged me goodnight. Olivia, 16, watched everything with those observant eyes. When Amber called Olivia and asked her to testify at sentencing, Olivia told the truth. She refused to lie. That choice said more about who she was becoming than any courtroom outcome ever could. Months later, Amber texted, "I'm sorry. I read it once and deleted it." Forgiveness cannot be asked for in a single message. After what happened, I did not need to forgive to move on. I had already moved on. Standing on the waterfront with my kids and my new team, I felt peace. Not because I had one, but because I had stopped fighting her battle and started building my own life. Foundations matter more than facades. Quiet strength outlasts loud ambition. If someone drops you in public and thinks they have one, remember this. Foundations do not disappear when someone steps away. They stay and they hold everything up. If you want, you can also turn this into a more dramatic YouTube voiceover version with stronger hook lines and shorter sentence pacing.